Marcus was a city bus driver who barely made ends meet, working extra shifts to support his elderly mother. On a cold winter morning, he saw Sarah, a disabled passenger in a wheelchair, struggling to reach the bus stop in heavy snow. Marcus knew the rules: no stopping between designated stops, no leaving the driver's seat during the route. But seeing Sarah shivering in her thin coat, he couldn't just drive past. He stopped the bus, helped Sarah through the snow, and got her safely aboard. Later that day, his supervisor called him into the office. For breaking company policy, Marcus was fired from his job of 8 years. That night, he sat at his kitchen table, holding his final paycheck, wondering how he would pay next month's bills. The next morning, his phone rang. A voice from the mayor's office spoke words that would change his life forever. Hi everyone, welcome to Mystic Tales. Today I'm excited to share a new story with you. Marcus started his morning route at 6 a.m., just like any other winter day. The city streets were covered in fresh snow, and the temperature had dropped below freezing. He had been driving this same route for 8 years, knowing every turn and stop by heart. His passengers were familiar faces, many of them heading to early morning shifts like him. His mother had called that morning, reminding him about her medical bills. Marcus promised to pick up an extra weekend shift to help cover the costs. Times were tough, but he never complained. The bus company paid just enough to keep his small apartment and help his mother. Between Oak Street and Pine Avenue, Marcus noticed something through his windshield. A woman in a wheelchair was struggling in the snow, trying to reach the next bus stop. He recognized her as Sarah, who often took his bus to her physical therapy appointments. The wheelchair kept getting stuck in the snow, and she was clearly exhausted. The company rules were strict. Drivers could only stop at designated spots. Getting out of the driver's seat during a route meant risking your job. Marcus looked at his passengers, then back at Sarah. She was wearing only a light coat, shivering in the cold. A young woman sitting near the front spoke up. "We can wait a minute. She needs help." Several other passengers nodded in agreement. Marcus knew what he had to do. He pulled the bus over safely, turned on the hazard lights, and stepped out into the cold. The snow crunched under his boots as he walked towards Sarah. Her hands were red from pushing the wheelchair through the snow. "Let me help you," Marcus said, carefully maneuvering her wheelchair through the snowy path. Sarah's voice was shaky from the cold. "Thank you. I was worried I would miss my appointment." Marcus helped her onto the bus, using the wheelchair lift, making sure she was safely secured before continuing the route. What he didn't notice was a passenger in the back, recording the whole incident on their phone. By noon, the video had reached his supervisor's desk. The passenger had posted it online, praising Marcus's kindness. But his supervisor saw it differently. Company policy was clear about unauthorized stops and leaving the driver's seat. At 2 p.m., Marcus was called into the office. His supervisor slid a termination notice across the desk. "We can't make exceptions. Rules are rules." Marcus sat in his car in the employee parking lot, staring at his termination papers. 8 years of perfect attendance and customer service awards meant nothing now. He thought about his mother's medical bills and his rent due next week. His hands gripped the steering wheel as he tried to stay calm. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "I heard what happened. I am so sorry. The other passengers told me they reported your supervisor for being too harsh." Marcus appreciated their support, but it wouldn't bring his job back. At home, Marcus called his mother. Her voice was warm but worried. "Maybe we can reduce my therapy sessions," she suggested. Marcus shook his head, even though she couldn't see him. "No, Mom. I will figure something out. He spent the evening applying for other driving jobs online. His experience was good, but most positions wouldn't start for weeks. His savings would barely cover 2 weeks of expenses. The stress kept him awake until midnight. Sarah had shared her story on social media. Other regular passengers added their experiences of Marcus's kindness over the years. The post was getting attention from local community groups. Some suggested the bus company's policy was too rigid. A reporter from the local news station contacted Marcus. She wanted to cover the story of a bus driver fired for helping a disabled passenger. Marcus declined. He didn't want publicity. He just wanted to work and take care of his mother. That night, Marcus heated up his last frozen dinner. The kitchen felt too quiet without the usual evening news he watched before his night shifts. His uniform hung on the door, still fresh from the dry cleaners. He had picked it up yesterday, not knowing it would be his last day. His neighbor Tom knocked on his door. "Hey, I might know someone hiring at the school district. They need drivers." Marcus thanked him, adding another application to his list. The day had been long, and tomorrow would be harder. As Marcus got ready for bed, his phone rang. The screen showed an unknown number. It was 9:45 p.m., too late for most business calls. He almost didn't answer. On the fourth ring, he picked up. The voice on the other end changed everything. "This is Amanda Chen from the mayor's office," the voice said. "We received numerous calls about your situation. The mayor would like to meet with you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Can you make it?" Marcus sat down at his kitchen table. The mayor's office rarely got involved in private company matters. He wondered if Sarah's social media post had reached city officials. "Yes, I can be there," he replied, writing down the address. He barely slept that night. At 8 a.m., Marcus put on his best shirt and tie, the ones he saved for special occasions. The bus ride downtown felt strange. He was now a passenger on the route he used to drive. The mayor's office was busy with morning meetings. Amanda, a kind-faced woman in her 40s, greeted him. The mayor saw the video, but more importantly, she received letters from elderly and disabled passengers about your help over the years. Mayor Gloria Torres walked in carrying a folder. She was known for her work on public transportation improvements. "Marcus, please sit down. We need more people like you in our city's transportation system." She opened the folder. "The city is launching a new accessible transportation program. We need someone to oversee driver training and disability assistance protocols. Someone who understands both driving and passenger needs." Marcus listened carefully as she explained the position. It would pay better than his bus driving job. The role focused on teaching other drivers how to properly assist disabled passengers while following safety guidelines. "Your experience and character make you perfect for this," Mayor Torres said. "You chose to help someone in need, even at personal cost. That's exactly what we want to teach others." Amanda handed Marcus an employment package. The salary made his eyes widen. It was almost twice what he made as a bus driver. The benefits included full medical coverage, which would help with his mother's bills. Marcus read through the contract carefully. The position was Transportation Accessibility Coordinator, starting in 2 weeks. He would train bus drivers on proper assistance procedures and help develop better policies for disabled passengers. "We need someone who understands both sides," Amanda explained. "Your experience as a driver and your natural instinct to help others make you valuable to our team." She showed him the training schedule and office location. Sarah had come to the mayor's office that morning too. She waited in the lobby to thank Marcus. "When I posted about what happened, I never expected this response. Other disabled passengers shared similar stories about you. You always took extra time to help us. The local bus company's management called Marcus later that day. They offered to reinstate his job after the public response. Marcus politely declined. His new position would help prevent other drivers from facing the same difficult choice he had. That evening, Marcus visited his mother. She cried when he told her about the new job. "I always told you kindness finds its way back," she said, holding his hand across her kitchen table. The medical bills on her counter seemed less threatening now. The next week, Marcus started training for his new role. He learned about transportation regulations, accessibility laws, and communication protocols. His experience made it easier to understand what both drivers and passengers needed. 3 months into his new role, Marcus had already made meaningful changes. He developed a practical training program that taught drivers how to help disabled passengers while staying safe and following regulations. The city approved new policies that gave drivers more flexibility to assist passengers in need. Sarah became a volunteer consultant for the program, helping demonstrate proper wheelchair assistance techniques to new drivers. Her experience helped Marcus create better guidelines for winter weather situations. Now, no one has to choose between helping someone and keeping their job, she told him during a training session. Marcus's mother joined his health insurance plan, reducing her medical expenses significantly. He could finally afford a better apartment closer to work. The extra income meant no more late-night worries about bills. 1 year after that snowy morning, Marcus spoke at a city transportation conference. He shared his story with transit officials from other cities. Several cities requested copies of his training program. His approach to combining compassion with safety became a model for other transit systems. The bus company that fired him adopted his new guidelines. His old supervisor even attended one of his training sessions. They nodded to each other, both knowing things had worked out for the better. During his evening walks home, Marcus often passed his old bus route. Sometimes he saw drivers helping passengers the way he had taught them. Each time, he smiled, knowing that one difficult moment had led to positive changes for so many people. Loved this story? Tap that like button and subscribe to Mystic Tales for more. Let us know how this story made you feel with a single word in the comments.